All right, and we're back. This is Hook and Ladder. Big week. Separation Saturday was awesome to say the least. We'd tell you about the Georgia Vanderbilt game, but that's 55-0. That's not really what we're here to talk about. Alabama, Tennessee. Let's go ahead and just get this bad boy started. Tennessee wins 52-39 with a game-winning field goal with 2 seconds on the clock.
52-49. Game of the year, without a doubt. We didn't get to watch much of this game at all.
Let's do it on the radio.
Let's do it on the radio. I watched the first 3 quarters this morning, not the fourth because we listened to it on the radio on the way home last night. But kind of followed along on our phones while we were sitting in the stands. And Tennessee out pretty big. It was 28-10 or something like that. And then Alabama came fighting back to score before half, kind of get it evened up. Then Alabama pulled ahead after Tennessee missed an extra point. Back and forth. When I found out that Alabama did the scoop and score, I was like, it's over. And then Tennessee came fighting back. You know, they get the 4th down pass interference call with the picked off, and put the game in hand. Then they tie it up, a la Texas, Alabama. Alabama goes right down the field to go kick a game-winning field goal, and a drop pass that probably could have been a touchdown on 3rd down basically made them settle for the field goal. They missed it. Tennessee comes back. 2 passes, I think it was. I think it was just 2 passes they threw to get them down to about the 24, 25-yard line roughly, and the guy kicked a wobbly field goal. Great game. I saw the video today of the cameraman's pointing at the Tennessee student section, not even looking what's going on the field, just watching their reaction, and then they're like, oh, they go crazy, and then they're all going on the field. It's awesome. Neither one was rocking. Like I said, I watched the first 3 quarters today, but the highlights last night when all the fireworks went off on the field. Heupel, awesome coach. Dude looks like he needs to hit the gym pretty bad, but dude, that guy can coach. Because I know for a fact he doesn't have the best recruits either.
Right.
Man, it was a fun game.
Yeah. That's I think Tennessee actually got like 17 first-place votes now.
Yeah.
They're number 3 in the country.
I was thinking they'd end up being number 1. They weren't, but
well,
it doesn't really matter.
Play in Georgia.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They got to take care of business just like everybody else.
Right. So big shakeup so far. Moving right along, Clemson survives against Florida State. Florida State scored 14 points in the 4th quarter to make it look
a little more competitive than it really was. DJ looked good in this game as well. I watched a little bit this morning.
Yeah. Let's see. Penn State lost to Michigan 41-17. Michigan continues to win.
This was my lock of the week. I knew Michigan was going to win. I knew they were going to win big. They were able to basically give Penn State their own medicine, just run the ball up and down on them. I think both Edwards and Corum were over 100, a couple of touchdowns apiece. J.J. McCarthy didn't really do a whole lot, didn't need to. They just ran the ball all over him. So, huge win for Michigan. Then they're looking to have that undefeated, just like last year, matchup with Ohio State.
Which could be really interesting if Ohio State and Michigan go undefeated. I mean, the way things are looking, there's going to be some one-loss teams floating around in the mix.
It's possible, yeah. I mean, I know it's kind of getting into it today on Twitter with an Ohio State fan that loves to talk crap about other conferences. Meanwhile, the entire Western Division of the Big Ten is basically a trash fire. And then they got to play Iowa this week. It's like, come on, dude. When are you guys going to play like a quality opponent?
Right.
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Moving right along. USC lost to Utah 43-42. You saw this one.
This game was awesome. Kind of similar to the Tennessee-Alabama game where USC kind of, they definitely got out to a big jump. I think when I started tuning in, it was 28-14. Utah came roaring back. Kincaid, the tight end, was catching pass after pass after pass. And then, USC would score. Then Utah would score. Then USC was going down the field and scoring like second half. Nobody could play defense.
Right.
Utah comes back. Kincaid makes a catch, goes out with an injury, comes back a few plays later, makes a few catches, gets him inside the 10. Clock's winding down, like 40 seconds left. 4th goal, touchdown. Cam Rising runs it in, and they go for 2. Shotgun play, kind of looks like he's going to throw, then he pulls it down, scrambles, 2-point conversion, good. Game over. Excellent game. Huge win by Utah. Really bad letdown loss for USC because Utah's already got 2 losses. They're probably out of the playoff picture, even if they win the Pac-12. USC, I felt if they could get undefeated and get that Pac-12, they're definitely in. and they would just keep getting better and better as the season went on. Their offense wasn't that bad yesterday. I mean, they put 42.
Can't stop
the
anybody.
defense just, which has been a bright spot thus far. It's been a surprising bright spot. Just couldn't stop anybody yesterday.
Well, defense was in question on a lot of teams yesterday. I mean, Alabama got carved up in that second.
Yes, I mean, God, dude, there was Tennessee wideouts running open. I mean, I still think Hyatt's open somewhere.
Yeah. Moving right along, Oklahoma State pulled Oklahoma State, lost TCU.
Oh, gosh. Another great game, back and forth. Oklahoma State was up huge. 27-13 they were up and let TCU come crawling back in. And I was at the tailgate yesterday. I was talking up Oklahoma State's defense and how great they've looked so far this season. But like the Oklahoma State we know and love, they're going to drop a game. And this was it, it looks like.
Yep.
I thought Sanders played fairly well. That's so disappointing because, both teams are good. I just thought Oklahoma State was a little bit more poised to make a playoff type run. I don't think TCU's that team.
But
they
they're
keep
6-0.
winning. Yeah, they keep winning.
They're 6-0. That's all that really matters. Ole Miss remains undefeated, knocking off Auburn 48-34. What can I say about
We
this?
watched this game at the tailgate yesterday. Ole Miss had this thing in hand, 28-12 at the half. But Tank Bigsby basically took this game over in the second half. It wasn't enough, but it kind of shows if they actually give him the football, which they haven't been doing a ton this season, give that kid the football and ride him.
They could have been leaning on him all season long.
They could have. They could have easily had a couple more wins. Definitely that Missouri game. He didn't carry the ball very much in the second half of the Missouri game. He was seen at the telecast on the field, helmet on, just sitting around.
Yeah. You got an athlete like that who runs the ball. Feed him. He needs to touch the ball at least minimum 20 times a game. Minimum.
He's from here where we live.
Yeah.
And I know he's disgruntled. Kind of talked to his parents for a little bit at the Georgia-Auburn game. But I know he's disgruntled. It doesn't matter. Feed him. He's on your team. Unless he actually says, no, I'm not going to go win the game.
Right.
You just put him in there and keep feeding him the football. That's the only way Auburn's going to win games.
Another undefeated team, Syracuse, goes to 6-0, knocking off NC State 24-9. They got Clemson next week.
Yeah, undefeated Syracuse. I watched the highlights this morning. Without Devin Leary, NC State's really nothing.
Right.
Syracuse looks good. The quarterback is one of those dudes that I watched a couple of Syracuse games so far this year. He's one of those guys where he snaps the football to him and he looks downfield and is either going to throw the most ugly pick that you've ever seen or is going to throw a really pretty ball.
Right.
And played well yesterday.
Yeah. Moving right along, Mississippi State lost to Kentucky. It's 27-17. You start talking up Mississippi State to everybody and they lay an egg.
I watched this game as well. Some of those night games last night, Mississippi State, Kentucky, LSU, Florida was a really good game. Florida came roaring back in that one. Utah, USC, like we talked about just a minute ago, was a good one. Those night games were good. Purdue, Nebraska was an entertaining game. Kind of went down to the wire a little bit. But yeah, we've been talking at Mississippi State, putting up all these points. I tuned in, it was 6-3. And I was like, what the hell's going on in this game? Is this a baseball game or what? But, I got to give credit to Kentucky. Will Levis didn't look that good. He was hurt his shoulder again in this game. But they hung in there and made the plays when they had to.
Yeah, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
Oklahoma finally wins a big game against Kansas, 52-42. Didn't see any of this one.
No, I saw the highlights. Dylan Gabriel, looked okay. They were able to run the football pretty good on Kansas. Kansas looked good as well.
Yeah.
I think Kansas is that team this year that they've got a lot of guys back who've been there for a few years. They're experienced. They might not be the most talented team, but they know how to play in that system.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're experienced. They know what's going on. And look, they've lost 2 games back to back. But I have a feeling that they probably can win out. Or at least maybe lose one more, win the rest, and have a respectable 9-3 season. A really good season by Kansas State.
Yeah. They have nothing to be ashamed of right now.
Oklahoma kind of gets off the schneid there after losing, 3 straight?
Yeah. We'll see what happens with them. Iowa State hung around the Texas 24-21. Texas wins again. I don't know. We didn't see any of this.
I just saw some of the highlights. I'm really shocked that Texas didn't blow them out after all the hype of the past week when they blew the doors off Oklahoma. I expected a little bit more from Texas.
Yeah.
Expected them to have turned the corner after that game, and
Maybe they got a little hype.
Yeah, they had some hype. They were only up 14-7 at the half, and it wasn't a very good game, clean game, but they got the win. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
They probably came into that game completely hyped up from the week before, and probably weren't quite ready to play. But they got it done.
That's right. And again, that's all that matters. Illinois, 26-14, go to 6-1.
6-1. The Flying Brett Bielema's are playing very well in the Big Ten West. I think that Minnesota might have been in the driver's seat there. I know Nebraska for like a split second last week or week before when they played on a Friday night, they were in the lead for the Big Ten West. Freaking Nebraska. But Minnesota ended up being that team, and then now it's Illinois. Yeah. So I know Jerry's happy.
That's right.
He'll be going to the game with us in a few weeks, and I know he's excited. He texted me today and says that Illinois is the 8th best odds to win the national championship. I laughed. I was like, hey, you're having fun, dude. Good for you, buddy.
LSU knocks off Florida 45-35.
We listened to this on the radio driving home as well after the Tennessee Tennessee beat Alabama. We tuned into this game on the radio. Listened to it. Florida jumped out to that 14-7 lead. LSU came back and scored, 3 unanswered touchdowns first half. Took a big lead. Scored again first drive of the second half. When I got home, Anthony Richardson literally had just crossed the goal. I saw him dive. As soon as my TV turned on, he's diving in. So they scored. It was 42-28, and they let him come back a little bit. And if it wasn't for a roughing the passer call on an interception, Florida could have tied this game up. But to credit to LSU, after the roughing the passer, they go down and kick a kind of a meaningless field goal to really seal the deal. But really good game, fun, entertaining game. Florida's offense is basically running. If you can make them one-dimensional, if you can stop their run, you're going to beat them because their defense isn't that good.
Right. Well, let's talk about next week's games.
Yeah. Thursday, finally a decent Thursday. Not decent.
Forget Virginia against Georgia Tech. $18 you can go to Bobby Dodd.
I don't even know if I'll probably watch this game, but I'm not going to be excited about it.
Yeah. Friday night, some snoozers.
I might watch that Western Kentucky game. Tulsa can put up some points. I might watch that one.
At noon, Ohio State's back from their break. They got Iowa at home.
Yeah, that's going to be a real tough game.
Yeah.
Some of the Ohio State, not all, but some of the Ohio State fans are really just chirping about the SEC and the ACC, SEC in particular. They don't play anybody. I'm you just had the number 8 team and the number 2 or 3 team play yesterday.
Yeah.
Georgia's ranked number 1, and other than Oregon, they really haven't played anybody that great.
Right.
They've struggled. They've only struggled in one game, which is the Missouri game. They've played kind of crappy against the Cupcakes, but against huge rivalry, you dominate Auburn start to finish, and Vandy's nothing special. Vandy get beat by Iowa, I'm fairly certain, but a good team puts up 55 points on a team like that. So the Ohio State fans are just chirping, and it's okay, you're playing Iowa, dude. Seriously.
Well, Tennessee's got UT Martin next week, so
that's even worse.
Yeah.
And then they got to go to Kentucky.
Yeah, they
get Kentucky at home, and then they come to Athens, Georgia.
Yeah, so the road's not paved in gold from there. They're actually going to have to play some games here.
And Ohio State will too, but I just feel the level of competition to what Ohio State's putting on the field, they're not going to face a team that's even going to make them break a sweat until the last game of the season. If you're playing one team that can actually challenge you all year long, what does that say about your conference?
Right.
It says a lot about you as well. What does it say about your conference?
Moving right along, Syracuse taking on Clemson at noon next week. That's going to be a battle of the undefeateds.
Yeah, at times Clemson hasn't looked good, but the last 3-4 weeks they've looked really good.
They've kind of.
I have a feeling Syracuse's Cinderella season is going to come to a screeching halt, but that doesn't mean they still can't have a really, really good season.
Yeah.
1, maybe 2 losses on the year. They're playing really well. And the ACC's not that good of a conference either.
Let's see what else we got here. We got LSU Ole Miss playing 3:30. Tiger Stadium.
Could be a good game. LSU coming off the big win, Florida. They're at home. It's always hard to play there. If it was a night game, I would feel more comfortable picking LSU.
Well, here's an interesting game. UCLA against Oregon at 3:30.
Number 9 versus number 10.
That's an interesting game right there.
We were talking just a second ago about the Ohio State fans chirping, but I would actually say that the Big 12 and the Pac-12 are the most fun conferences to watch this year. There's a lot of good teams in each of those conferences, and completely up in the air in both of them.
Right.
Who wants to take it? So the SEC, it's going to be 2 out of the 3 teams: Georgia, Tennessee, and Alabama.
Don't forget Ole Miss. Don't forget.
I don't think they're going to beat Alabama, but you never know.
No.
ACC is a wash. Big Ten, we know it's going to be the winner of Michigan, Ohio State. But the Pac-12 and the Big 12, that's where the parity is most on display this season, and those are the 2 conferences that are going to be the most fun to watch how it shakes out.
Texas, Oklahoma State. Here's one of these games where don't lose twice. You need to win this game.
Yeah, just stay in it.
Yes, and Texas is no pushover. So I mean, look at that, $162 at Boone Pickens.
And TCU's undefeated. Texas, let's not forget, they've got 2 losses, but only one of them's in the conference.
That's right. Interesting matchup.
And the way the Big 12 does, it's a giant round robin, so you can play a team on the regular season and play them again in the Big 12 championship.
Yeah.
So Texas losing would probably knock them out. Oklahoma State losing, the same. The winner is definitely going to be in the driver's seat again to possibly meet TCU in the Big 12 championship.
See what else we got here.
I've been saying driver's seat a lot today.
Yeah,
that's like a thing like at work.
Yeah. Stanford's got Arizona State.
Stanford won last night. I was watching it just to see Notre Dame beat them. 2 teams I can't stand. But you know how much I hate Stanford. And I'm watching them like, wait, Stanford's going to win this game. Like, this is horrible. Most hated team for me ever is Stanford. I don't want to see them ever win a game.
Did they win?
Yeah, they won. They beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame looks like hot trash right now. After looking good the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. Alabama's taking on Mississippi State at 7 o'clock. This is an interesting game to me.
It is.
Because I think Mississippi State can match up with Alabama. I mean, you saw what they did, Tennessee did last night. Well, Mississippi State can throw the ball.
Yeah, and Mississippi State looked like crap last night, so they're going to bounce back. Right. So will Alabama. I think Alabama plays angry, but there is the possibility. I don't really think Mississippi State beats them because I know they play good defense. I don't think they're going to stop Alabama's offense, but I do see Mississippi State putting up points on Alabama's defense.
Yeah. So that's an interesting matchup for a lot of reasons.
Will Robinson, the QB of Mississippi State's one of those kids, like, he looks like he doesn't give a crap. Yeah. He's like, whatever, I'll throw it on anybody. I don't care who I'm playing. I'm throwing the football on you.
There you go. Penn State playing at 7:30 next week against Minnesota.
The battle of the disappointments.
Yeah. Here's an interesting game at 8. Kansas State and TCU. Kansas State. Well,
Kansas ranked number 17, Kansas State, number 8 TCU. That's going to be a heck of a game.
Yeah, so both teams probably have a lot riding on this game here.
That's a game I'm definitely going to be watching. It's my daughter's birthday, and she's having like 7 of her friends sleep over. So I'm going to be like upstairs, locked in a room with my case of beer and a couple sandwiches, watching football.
And we got nothing else really. You got Pittsburgh, Louisville at 8, and you got Washington, California.
Washington needs to win this game just to stay remotely in the hunt. They've got 2 conference losses. But man, that Kansas State TCU game, that's going to be a can't miss. Well, how much is the ticket? $30? Did I say $30? Right there up top. No, for Kansas State TCU.
$39.
$39. Where is it played at?
Amon.
It's at TCU.
Fort Worth, yeah. Yeah, so that's TCU.
Yeah, if it wasn't my daughter's birthday, I'd be like, let's get Paul Wilson to fly us over there.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you're getting a lot of teams on the buys these past couple of weeks, so a lot of teams are going to be, sitting at the house.
Georgia and Florida are both on a bye this coming week, and they play each other in 2 weeks.
Yeah, this is always that interesting Saturday where there's a couple meaningful games out there, but some teams are sitting at the house. But that concludes this week's episode.
Yeah, there are upsets every week, but I kind of feel we're starting to get into that part of the season where teams are banged up. Certain guys, key guys, are out for certain teams, and they can find themselves getting knocked off fairly easily. Yeah. So it'd be fun to kind of keep an eye on that.
Yeah, still a few undefeated teams left. Still a lot of big games in the air. There's a lot of opportunities for some of these lesser teams. So it's exciting. Nothing's set in stone right now.
Nope.
So
after the next couple weeks, we'll kind of have a little bit more clearer picture of conference championships. I think you're getting the meat of the schedule of most of these teams.
Yeah, and we're already halfway through the season.
I know, it sucks.
Over halfway through.
Wish they'd add about 4 or 5 more games to the season.
Well, we mentioned this, was it 2 years ago, that those December games were kind of exciting.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch colder weather games and get out of the September some of these games, But
I don't know. We're different there. I like that hot weather. Shorts, flip-flops, going to the game, drinking light beer all day, like the 98-degree. I dig that.
Yeah. I like the cold beer and don't like 98-degree stuff. But anyway, that's this week's episode, and we'll do it again next week.
Yeah. See you guys.